Coming up on 2.5 Geeks, we're going to be talking about the Samsung Galaxy Tab, our holiday gift guide over at Hot Hardware, and a whole lot more coming up in a few seconds.
The bar has been set wicked fast.
It rocked in the benchmarks. We're going to up the ante a little bit.
Processing power, I kind of understand this. Welcome to Hot Hardware's 2.5 Geeks. I'm Ayaz Akhtar alongside Dave Altavilla and Marco Chiappetta. How you guys doing?
Good.
Just dandy, thanks, and you?
I'm great. I'm so great because we're going to be talking about the Samsung Galaxy Tab, and I know you guys had a review about it. Dave, what did you find out?
We found out a lot. It's pretty nice. It's a 7-inch tablet, so it's significantly smaller than an iPad, which a lot of folks, I think, will find attractive. And some folks may say, not enough screen real estate. But, definitely more palmable, if you will. You can kind of just carry this thing around, tuck it away in a bag a little bit easier than an iPad. It's a little bit more portable. It's definitely lighter. Very well built, much like the iPad. Has, sort of a plastic composite backing to it. Doesn't have that aluminum finish that the iPad has. But, just drawing parallels with what's arguably the most successful tablet on the market, we were very impressed, very responsive, comes with Android 2.2, a.k.a. Fro-Yo. We have a running joke on that, right, Ayaz?
Yo!
Yeah, so it's either Fro-Yo or Fro-Yo, and to me it sounds all the same. I want to ask you about this. The Samsung Galaxy Tab, it's much more like a cell phone versus the iPhone. The iPad, you can buy it outright for $499. Can you buy the Tab without a contract, and would that be advantageous at all?
Well, it depends. I mean, I think it would if you're willing to fork over the dough. What is it, $599 without a contract? It's not cheap. So, in that regard, if you don't mind paying up front, you can get away without having a contract, and you can just use Wi-Fi. I think perhaps if you already have a contract, it's one of those things where you have to see whether or not your SIM card's going to work in this thing, and maybe you could provision it if you were tricky. But really, it's just it's a much more portable device that has the Android experience on it. I think perhaps where it lacks for the average end user right now, or perhaps where Android's catching up, would be the Android marketplace. There's definitely more and more apps coming online, and it's got a lot of traction, a lot of funding and support behind it with third-party developers. But let's face it, iTunes and from Apple's iPhone and iPod series all the way up to the iPad now is very mature, and so. It's catching up, but for sure it's a very strong tablet offering, and we think it's going to take a good chunk out of Apple's market share this holiday season.
Let's move over to the Hot Hardware Holiday Guide of 2010. I know Marco's got a whole lot about this. What are the best toys that you guys can recommend right now, Marco?
So, we don't cover toys, Ayaz. This is Hot Hardware, man.
I said tech toys.
Oh, well, okay, I'll let you slide then. I was going to make fun of you for a little bit. So we cover a whole bunch of stuff. We break down basically every component from CPU to case to storage to video card, and we choose products at various price points from entry-level to mid-range to high-end, and there's a ton of stuff. If you're looking for a high-end CPU, something like the Intel Core i7-970, or the lot more affordable AMD Phenom 2 X6 1075T, lots of good stuff. As far as graphics, high end, we really like the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 580. If you want to go something more affordable, the GTX 460 or Radeon 6850 is nice. But we also cover monitors, notebooks, netbooks, you name it.
So what's your favorite low-end piece of hardware or software? Would you recommend a netbook over other things? Do you think tablets are the way to go? What do you think is, if you want to spend under $500, Marco, what would you pick?
Under $500, if you're speaking strictly, a mobile computer, I like the Asus 1215N EPC netbook. You're talking about an Atom dual core, a nice form factor, NVIDIA Ion graphics, so you can do some graphics intensive stuff, and it gets great battery life. In our review, I think we approached 6 hours or 5.5 to 6 hours. I don't remember the exact number. It's a really nice machine. I actually ended up buying one for myself recently. First thing I did was pull it apart and throw an SSD in it and double the memory. And I could say upgraded, it's really nice. I actually have been using it more than my Core i5 notebook.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I was playing a video game, and like I hear that video games at work are actually quite beneficial. Dave, what do you know about this? Like, because I don't want to get in trouble because Marco, obviously regularly beats me. If I'm playing a video game at work, what's good about that?
If it's Left 4 Dead, Marco's definitely going to kick your butt.
Great.
Because he spends way too much time playing that game, although it's a heck of a lot
Not
of
enough time.
Yeah, lately, that's for sure. You're playing Daddy. That's a game and a half. Interesting article. Our editor, Julie Bort, wrote up about this study that was done. And, I reckon back actually to some time that I spent calling on some of the blue chip companies in my semiconductor sales days. I'd go into places like Cisco and Lucent and all these telecom companies that lost a ton of money. But you'd go in and these engineers would have like these rooms with ping pong tables and stuff. And, I think what we don't remember is that, we're human and yes, we're workhorses, but everybody's going to blow off a little bit of steam. And so it sort of fosters a little bit of, a more relaxed air. Maybe you can, take off for lunch and go, play a game in the game room or something like that. But actually, this is a different twist on the topic, and we're now beginning to see case studies where companies are incorporating video games into their training. And they cited a couple of studies where, this doctor surveyed over 6,000 participants, and she found that those who trained via game, on any subject matter, I guess, scored up to 14% higher for factual knowledge, skills, and retention than those taught by other methods. And they went into case studies with a place like Cold Stone Creamery, which, after losing a lot of money from their employees serving too much ice cream, put out a training video, or a training video game, I should say, that taught them how to scoop ice cream properly and not overserve, and they'd win or lose points based on how they did. Same thing happened for Miller Brewing Company, where they're developing a game called Tips on Taps on how to pour the perfect beer. Now that's a game I want to practice a little bit, right? Sounds like fun.
That's what I would do all the time if I could.
But you might not do that, but you might learn something a little bit quicker if I don't know, they made a game out of it and made it fun. It's let's face it, we're all kids at heart. And, for sure, children learn better at school when the teacher makes learning fun. And I guess that's the moral to the story.
Well, let's wait, who's snickering? Dave is snickering about teaching.
I was snickering at myself.
That's just not right. Let's talk about the reader mailbag. Hey, you guys, you watch the show, you go to HotHardware.com, you got questions. We've got a question from Real Neil, and the question is, when can we expect to see some real offerings on the retail front pertaining to Sandy Bridge motherboards and CPUs, and how much is this tech gonna set us back? And they wrote gonna, so I'm saying gonna. I have a build coming up, and I wonder if I should wait for Sandy Bridge. Again, this fellow is wondering about the porn star Sandy Bridge. Marco, what do you know?
So let me just gather my thoughts. I got really fired up thinking about how hard that Cold Stone ice cream scooping game must be. Holy crap. Okay, I'm ready. So
let's talk about Sandy Bridge.
So as far as Sandy Bridge goes, there are still details, unfortunately, that I cannot disclose, Real Neil. But what we can say is you can expect Sandy Bridge-based motherboards and processors in early January, so we're just a few weeks away. As far as price points, they're going to arrive basically at the same price points that the Core i5 and i7 Linfield-based processors arrived at. Again, I can't give you solid numbers because we're under embargo, but the first batch of chips are going to target mainstream and upper mainstream segments. So if you are looking at something, in the few $100 price range, not a killer cutting-edge system, Sandy Bridge is probably going to fall into that range.
We have one more reader question from Sammy Hayabusa. What's all the fuzz about the new non-K processors not being able to be overclocked as close or as much as their 1156 cousins? Will they only rely on Intel's Turbo Boost technology to get higher frequencies, will the motherboards have a multiplier cap built in with profiles on each chip? And this sounds like nonsense at this point to me. Chip to limit how high they can manually be OC'd. Please expand on that. Who wants to cover that? I would assume it's Marco again.
Yeah,
because,
Marco
I'm just like, what is over the head? What does that mean?
Okay, so there's a couple facets to this question. So will Sandy Bridge chips not overclock as high as socket 1156 chips? Can't really say yet. I would say no. I'd say the manufacturing process is more advanced. Intel's had time to turn the dials and tweak. I would think the architecture is capable of higher clocks than current stuff. Now, with that said, will the chips be overclockable, and will you be able to hit those speeds without working some serious magic? Now, there's been lots of questions out there as to whether or not regular Sandy Bridge processors, the non-K Sandy Bridge chips, are going to be able to be overclocked at all. Now, the confusion comes from the chips have an onboard clock generator where all the other clocks are derived. So the motherboards aren't going to be able to alter that technically, or not going to be able to alter that by a significant margin. So Intel's going to release the K-series chips, which are like current K-series chips that are completely unlocked, where you can tweak multipliers and what have you. With that said, the motherboard guys might work some magic as well and allow overclocking of regular chips too. All I can say is we'll answer all those questions very soon. We're only a couple weeks away.
So you're saying you don't have an answer at all?
I'm saying I don't have a clear answer.
Well, I could have said that. I don't know anything about it, and I could have been like, well, I don't have an answer for you right now.
Well, I'd offer this. I mean, this is they're much more complex chips for sure, and it's going to be one of those things where it's like anything else. Initially there's probably going to be a little bit more limited scope, but the motherboard folks are pretty crafty and they figure out a way. Where there's a will, there's a way, and I would be very surprised if. One thing I know for sure is Intel definitely didn't put a lid on anything. It's what the architecture can do, and unfortunately, we can't tell you exactly what it can do just yet.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about Hot Hardware is the giveaways. Every month, HotHardware.com gives away awesome rigs. Last month was an awesome gaming rig for naming the podcast. This month, there's a holiday rig sweepstakes. Marco, what can the people win this time?
The people can win another killer gaming rig. This time we partnered up with Digital Storm. They are offering up a Core i7 950 based gaming rig with Radeon 6870 graphics, 1 terabyte hard drive, 6 gigs of RAM, tons of good stuff. Come by the site, check out the thread. Instructions are in there how to win. You just got to hit a couple of Facebook pages and send over a little screenshot, but it's super easy and absolutely worth it.
It's about 10 minutes worth of work, and you win thousands of dollars worth of technology. Totally worth it. Even if it's 2 to 10 minutes, I'm telling you, the return on investment is just phenomenal. Okay, you can win some serious
tech. Makes great stuff too.
Is there anything we'd like to plug while we're running out of time?
Plug?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Plug away.
Plug.
If I'll plug.
Go for it, David.
I'll plug a little feature on the site. If you're into Hot Hardware and you're a registered user, start using the voting system. Take a look over on the right side margin. You'll see we have hot stuff on Hot Hardware. There's a news tab and a products tab and a threads tab. That products tab is a listing of all the top products that readers vote on. So our full feature articles and reviews and evaluations, you vote those products up, they're going to hit the top list, and pretty soon we compile a nice leaderboard database of the best stuff as voted by you, the reader. So help us out.
And don't forget, you can find Hot Hardware at HotHardware.com, or you can go around the web at Dig, or Facebook, or Twitter, or YouTube, and see all kinds of great Hot Hardware content. I'm Maya Zactor alongside Dave Altavilla and Marco Geppetta. Again, a fantastic episode. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next week.